10% of global employment coming from the tourism sector. Yet, according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, only 4% of Mombasa's income is derived from tourism, direct amounts. Questions of what we need to do. In our manifesto, we talked about conference tourism. I have some good news. I'm already going through 2 files as we are speaking. And I'm hoping that immediately after being sworn in, I shall be doing a groundbreaking for institutions that want to put up conference facilities in Mombasa. That shall be an advantage and an added amount of tourism in Mombasa. We need to battle it out together. We cannot have an airport that has been built into figures of about 7+ billion shillings and to be able to do nothing else except do domestic flights. I have a feeling with the right presidency, things are going to be extremely smooth. But even so, with any presidency, as long as there's that element of common desire for growth, any single person should be able to accept the fact that we need open sky policies in Mombasa. And it is something that we're going to be fighting for. And I think this was a request that came from those in the hospitality industry, where they suggested that instead of having so many taxes and levies from the county government, what if we peg one particular figure based on a percentage on sales? And I'm up to that challenge, because I know under my stewardship you will grow. And when you do grow, that means that it is extra income that will be able to serve the people of Mombasa. You know, the elephant in the room, that notion of Regesheni Port Mombasa, has now been tied down to only one thing, which, by the way, is unconstitutional, and your county government will be fighting this to the highest level of courts. Right now, they're only using one thing. If your PIN is not for Mombasa, then collect your cargo in Nairobi and the cargo is being transported through SGR. That is totally wrong. And I gave an example today. I hold an identity card from Kibera in Nairobi. Don't ask me how my ID is from Kibera. But my identity card is from Kibera. But I became a member of parliament from Vita constituency for 10 years. And right now I'm the governor-elect and I intend to be the governor for another 10 years. It does not mean just because someone registered their PIN in Nairobi, it gives no institution the right to direct and force cargo to be collected at certain areas. That is totally wrong. In fact, in my last weeks of parliament, that is the issue that I was actually trying to fight. Parliament went on recess. Little did they realize, or did they know, that I was going to end up being governor, so things are a bit worse on that angle. We need to start the discussion of having a stake in the port of Mombasa. That is the discussion that we need to have. Just like any other port city in the world. Like any other port city in the world. That is the discussion that we need to start engaging with. I know there were discussions in the previous regimes where there was the issue of $1 a ton. That is something even totally different. I mean, and I ask this question, if there's a law where you can be able to charge cess from cross counties within the same country, that means if goods are coming from one county and getting into Mombasa, they're being charged cess. And I tend to wonder, why can't we have a minimal charge, minimal enough that if it is spread out and thinly spread out, no one is going to feel the direct impact on it. If we can be able to charge cess on goods that are coming in from Kilifi, the goods that are coming in from Kirinyaga or wherever else, what is there to stop us from engaging an element that we need to have a stake in the port of Mombasa? These are the conversations we now need to start having going forward. This is the direction. This is the thinking that I am looking at. I've already tasked the team and I've told them that to go through the figures that the county government has been charging, and we now need a one-stop figure. That means you just pay for one fee, you don't have to start paying for a fee for health, and then you're paying another fee for fire, and you're paying another fee for trade license, and another fee for this, and another fee for this. These are the conversations that we need to have in Mombasa. This was my pledge to you, and this is my promise of what I intend to deliver for you. I'm inheriting pending bills worth 4+ billion. I'm getting a final report by Tuesday of this week on what it is that I'm stepping into. If I'm going to make a promise that I'll pay everything to everyone immediately, it'll be a blatant lie, and we will not be living here on the right footing. But I do make a commitment to this. We will call the people who have bills with the county government and come up with a payment plan so that they can allow the county to continue. As and when we continue, we refuse and refuse and refuse to have new pending bills.
We've seen a lot of companies that went under. There are still a lot of viable businesses that, if given a credit lifeline, would get back on their feet. They would continue to employ people. They would continue to pay taxes. We also need to have an open conversation about our advantage geographically as Mombasa, this city. What are the services or products that only Mombasa can produce that no other place has? And I'm talking about, people can produce goods anywhere, but there are comparative advantages that we may have, especially if you look at us being signatories of the Africa Free Trade Continental Agreement. So we would like to see SEZs, put up in Mombasa, manufacturing done here for countries in the hinterland. We've seen a lot of interest from companies in the DRC that want to set up here. They import 85% of their consumables, and they would like to manufacture some of those goods in partnership with some Kenyan companies once they set up in the SEZ in Mombasa. So raw material can come, taken to the SEZ, which is in the port city here. It is manufactured, put again into vessels for the Kinshasa market, which is about 20 million people, and those will be taken by sea. It is far cheaper than taking them by trucks. The other areas of DRC that can be only accessible by road will be accessible by road. But for Kinshasa, 20 million is a good population. The sea route significantly cuts the freight costs. So, definitely, and actualizations of the MOUs and agreements that we already signed. There are people that are waiting for us to just get over this election processes. They want to come down here, set up, for trade. For example, Morocco, as you mentioned, goods coming in from Morocco into Kenya and from Kenya into Morocco. There's a lot of conversations already going on between businesses from both countries, and I'm optimistic about a very good future for Mombasa. Look, when the situation is volatile, it affects it in a lot. So I'm looking forward to a conclusion of this process, whichever way the Supreme Court will see it fit. Once we are past that, but whichever way it goes, life has to go on. Businesses have to continue. People need to put food on the table for their families. So, yeah, these processes go on, whatever the outcome of the Supreme Court.
And recently we had the Governing Council where we met with the African Union and to talk about the new agreement with the African Union, that we do it every 3 years. The Pan-African movement is the mother of African Union, because the founders are Marcus Garvey, Kwame Nkrumah, Gamal Abdul Nassir, and many others. And it is an issue whereby we want to bring Africa back to its roots. So we're now encouraging the youth to take over Africa so that we can push it forward and we know our resources. Thank you.